What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another Manchester City live watch-along. And today's live watch-along, we are going to be covering Manchester City's game against Leicester City in the Premier League. Should be a really big game for Manchester City. If we can get a big 3 points here, we can make some gains for Champions League football for next season. We know we can climb back into the top four, put some pressure onto Chelsea, who aren't playing until tomorrow, and see if we can take things from there and hopefully see Chelsea drop some points, and Manchester City can look to just try and get a run of form that will see Manchester City, hopefully, fingers crossed, have Champions League football for next season. But we do have to go through this game at the Etihad Stadium against Leicester City, and for me, it's very much must win. Leicester City not won in their last 7 games, lost all 7 of their last 7 games, and it's got to be a win for Manchester City here today. Get the job done and then head into the big game at the weekend, the Manchester derby away from home against Manchester United. So before I do crack on with this live watch along, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget to go and check out my social media links. You can find them in the description or on the yellow banner if you want to go and search for me and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. TikTok also in the description too if you want to go and follow me on there. Email also in the description on the yellow banner too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this live stream. We're once more aiming for 100 likes. We are now less than 85 likes away from 100 likes. So any help towards that would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget as well to get your thoughts in the live chat, including what your score predictions are for today's game and also where everybody is tuning in from in the chat. We've got Tony. Thank you for tuning in, much appreciated. Also, thank you to Rene, thank you for tuning in, much appreciated as well. DJ, thank you for tuning in, a warm welcome to you. Kawami, hello, warm welcome to you as well. Dalton, thanks for tuning in, going for a 3-0 City win. Doesn't want Manchester City taking any prisoner today, and says top 4 is a must, which I think we can all sit here and agree with that obviously Champions League football's got to be the first and foremost aim for Manchester City, and the main priority heading into the remaining games in the Premier League. Adrian, thanks for tuning in, says what an interesting lineup. Khusanov not even on the bench. Hopefully Jack Grealish going to have a blinder. I had a quick peek at the teams, and I'll be honest, it reminds me a lot of the team that Manchester City fielded against Nottingham Forest at home back in December, and City won that game. I think that finished 3-0 that day, and that were very much Jack Grealish playing in a more central role, and I'm expecting to see that again today, with width being provided by Savinho and Jeremy Doku, and I suspect Omar Marmoush is going to be Manchester City's striker in the absence of Erling Haaland, who has seen a specialist about his ankle injury that he picked up in City's last game, that FA Cup win by 2-1 against AFC Bournemouth on Sunday, and it's confirmed that he's going to be out for roughly around 6 to 7 weeks. So it does mean that Erling Haaland probably not going to be available until maybe Manchester City's penultimate game of the season, coincidentally against AFC Bournemouth at home in the Premier League. So it's going to be more than a month without Erling Haaland, so plenty of minutes, of course, for Omar Marmoush. Obviously, the second striker and the rotated option for City now is going to be Oscar Bobb, and it's brilliant to see that he makes the matchday squad for the first time this season in the Premier League, and potentially could even get some minutes here, depending on how things are going in this game. So hopefully that will be the case. Adrian, thank you for tuning in and leaving a thumbs up as well. Much appreciated, my friend. Tony, the team from Salford United. Fair enough. Frederick, thanks for tuning in as well. Reckon City back in 4 goals today. Bella, thanks for tuning in. Going 2-0 Manchester City. Reckon it's going to be a pretty poor game to watch today. Do you know, it depends. Manchester United made pretty short work of Leicester in their last game away from home, and in response to that, Leicester City have decided to field the same team because Ruud Van Nistelrooy, the manager at Leicester City, has decided that the team deserves another pop, another opportunity. So we'll see how they get on in this game, but they're going to sit tight, they're going to restrict space. It's it's going to be very much a low block. They're going to park the buses. What's going to happen from Leicester City? They're going to try and keep the scoreline down and see if they can get maybe a 0-0 in there. But we will see. We'll see. Man City have to be at their creative best, and a big opportunity, as I was saying in the Brighton game, when I look towards Man City's attacking players and the wide players, I want to see so much more from these players, from Jeremy Doku, from Savinho. Jack Grealish starts today. 3 of Manchester City's attacking front 4. I want to see more from them. I want to see them getting into good positions. I want to see them grabbing assists. I want to see them going for goal, backing themselves, trying to score goals, and even put the ball in the onion bag, put the ball in the back of the net. That's what we want to see, and I want to be seeing that from Manchester City's attacking line for today. If they've got an opportunity with Leicester's low block to be creating opportunities and having shots on goal, then you've got to take your opportunity. And I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking it's either going to be simple and straightforward for Manchester City today, or they're going to make hard work of it, and it could be a very close nip and tuck kind of game. So we've got to be wary of that, because that kind of what the game was like at the King Power Stadium earlier in the season, and Leicester really grew into that game, and it became a little bit at times a bit of a 50-50 kind of game. It took Manchester City to grab the all-important first goal for the Leicester heads to go, and considering right now they're on a run of 7 losses in a row, if we can grab the opening goal, it puts all the pressure on to Leicester City, who to me, with Wolves picking up a huge win yesterday, they're very nearly all but relegated, so they're playing for pride. So it'll be a really interesting kind of game. It could end up being a very high scoring game. It could end up Manchester City go out there and capable of scoring 4, 5, 6 goals, and I'd love to see that. Also, could end up being a 1-0, a little bit like what the Chelsea-Leicester game was a few weeks back, which was a very close game, and it's the kind of game that Leicester are capable of doing. They're capable of keeping the scoreline down. They're capable of defending very well. The question is, are they capable of nilling Manchester City to pull out a 0-0? If not, many teams are not capable of being able to keep Manchester City to 0. It means Leicester City have got to come to the Etihad today and score at least 1 goal. Are they capable of doing that? Are they going to be able to do that? They are the big questions. And I'm confident that if City can fly at Leicester City and try and score an early goal in this game, puts them automatically onto the back foot. And if we're in a position, if we can grab a killer 2-goal cushion, then you could potentially see the Leicester heads drop. And that's why I was speaking about the possibility that City could go on, that's Manchester City, go on to score 4, 5 or 6 goals. But I feel like we're jumping the gun, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We've got a job to do. We've got to create, we've got to score goals, and we've got to make this work today for Manchester City. It's any which way to win. Grab the 3 points and move on to the next game, the Manchester derby at the weekend at Old Trafford. A big thank you to Valentine for tuning in. I don't know. Echeverri's training around the City first team squad. I don't know why we're not seeing more of Claudio Echeverri. I felt like today would have been the perfect game for Echeverri to have made the matchday squad and made his debut potentially for Manchester City. I don't know. Man City trying to get a good idea about what the level is of Claudio Echeverri, and I feel like with the links coming in with a link to a move to Lazio on loans, telling me that maybe City aren't quite comfortable with Echeverri's performances in Europe as of right now, because the only thing we can judge on is how he's performing in training, and obviously City are having some doubts not to include him in the squad. Now, the plan was never for Echeverri to come in and start many games and feature on the bench all the time. The plan was to integrate him in, and he'd be getting on the bench a couple of times and maybe make his Man City debut, but games are coming thick and fast, and you know, if we end up getting through the next 3-4 weeks and Echeverri's still not in the squad and Man City have still got plenty to play for, which is what I'm hoping will be, then I'd say it's probably less and less likely to see Echeverri with so much on the line. So it's a bit of a strange one. I suspect that maybe we'll get to the last game or two if City manage to tie things up, and hopefully we'll be in an FA Cup final and got the Club World Cup to start targeting as well, that maybe we might see Echeverri. But as of right now, City's seemingly looking like it's maybe a bit too soon, which I think is a great shame. Yeah, I really do. City and Leeds channel, thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Not a fan of Grealish starting. I'm happy. Grealish came off the bench against Bournemouth and put in a good performance, and I'm hoping he can build on that now and see what he can do for Manchester City. It's his big opportunity. It might be Jack Grealish's last opportunity, to be honest with you guys, to try and make something happen. So hopefully he can take his opportunity and make something happen. Sam, thanks for tuning in. Yes, Oscar Bobb is back for Manchester City. City and Leeds channel going with a 2-0 win for Manchester City today. Adrian, as he says, big chance for Jack, make or break for his City career. He thinks so. Great to see Bobb on the bench. I expect it's going to be a really interesting game. Leicester will be playing a back five. It'll more than likely be 10 men behind the ball, if I'm being completely honest with you, including the goalkeeper. They'll probably try and keep Jamie Vardy up top to try and pose some kind of threat. So if City can keep him isolated, then hopefully it'll just be wave after wave of attack. What we don't want is a frustrating game, and Leicester get us in at half-time, it's 0-0, and Manchester City are looking a bit frustrated. Hopefully we can go out there and make our intentions known early on, rather than being a bit lackluster, lots of sideways passing and not really going anywhere. It's got to be touch and go, touch and go, touch and move constantly to try and make things happen. So hopefully we can, and hopefully we can see the very best out of some of City's biggest names and creative players that we've got available to ourselves, obviously with the absence of Erling Haaland. So I am now looking towards obviously Omar Marmoush, but I'm wanting to see more from the City players who have been here a long time in attack, including that of Jack Grealish. I want him to really take this game and grab it by the scruff of the neck. I'm looking towards Doku to start getting them goals and getting them assists, and the same can be said with Savinho. Hopefully he can celebrate becoming a father by returning back to the Manchester City starting 11 and grabbing a goal and making things happen in this game. Rene, do I remember the 5-2 win to Leicester City? When was that? What year was that? I don't remember that. That might just be because I'm very forgetful. If it didn't happen last week, I don't remember things. Crudo, thanks for tuning in. Josko's not going anywhere, so that is fake news. Dan, thank you for tuning in. Hoping it will be a win for City today. Doesn't care if it's going to be 1-0 or a big win for Manchester City, as long as City can make it happen. Which, yes, all about getting the 3 points, escaping with the 3 points, and moving on to the next game. All that matters is getting them 3 points. Anything other than 3 points today is a disaster for Manchester City. It puts us under a lot of pressure. In fact, getting Champions League football for next season becomes very tricky should we not win this game. This is, on paper, to me, Man City's easiest game that we've got left for the remainder of the season, because we're playing a team who's in the relegation zone at home, who's had, 2.5 weeks off. So it's going to take Leicester a little bit of time just to try and adapt and gel themselves back into Premier League action. So hopefully Manchester City can come out of the races and make things happen ASAP. 2020, Rene says, as Patson Daka is, of course, starting. I don't remember. When in 2020, COVID year, I presume. I don't remember it. I want to say there was a Mahrez blinder, but I might be thinking of another game. Sam says Grealish Marmoush sounds like a good balance. Seen Grealish make some nice passes. I presume he's going through the middle. Juventus away, he was awful through the middle, but Nottingham Forest at home, he was sensational, unplayable. So hopefully it will be the performance that we had from the game against Nottingham Forest rather than Juventus game. But anyway, here we are. Anyway, guys, it took me forever to get through that intro. Not too far off kickoff. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It's free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Email also in the description, so if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the stream. We're now 78 likes away from my goal of 100 likes. Any help towards that would be great. And also, don't forget as well to get your thoughts in the live chat, including what your score predictions are for today, and also where you are tuning in from as well. I do also have my poll in the chat if you want to go and have a vote about what you think is going to happen for today's game. Who wins? Will it be Manchester City, Leicester City, or will it be a draw? At the moment, over 40 people have left their votes. 88% of the voters have gone with a Manchester City win, 10% going with a Leicester City win, with 2% going with a draw for this game. Manchester is blue going 2-0 win for Manchester City, and Rene going negative there, 1-0 to Leicester City. Anyway, before we do have a good look at the teams, don't forget to go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. SofaScore is a free app to download. They're going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest football scores from around the grounds. They're going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest match information, team news, statistics, and so much more. Not just limited to football, it's got you guys covered for all the scores and information that you want to go and follow with all the sports that you love. It's a free app to download. Anyone that does download using my link in the description, or the QR code on screen, or the link in the live chat does help to support the future content created here on my channel. SofaScore is a very highly rated app. It is worthwhile checking out, and I will go through the teams using SofaScore. Remember, it is free to download, so I'm just going to roll my promo video very quickly, and then we'll speak about the teams. And a big thank you to SofaScore for sponsoring today's live watch-along. So I've got SofaScore up on my phone, locked and loaded. Let's have a good look at the teams. We've got other Premier League games taking place today. All these games at 7:45 p.m. BST. Bournemouth taking on Ipswich. Brighton taking on Aston Villa, Manchester City taking on Leicester City, Newcastle United taking on Brentford, and Southampton taking on Crystal Palace at 8 p.m. BST. Merseyside derby at Anfield. You've got Liverpool taking on Everton. I will be keeping one eye on the scores from around the grounds to keep you guys up to date with what is happening there. Dave going with a 3-1 victory today for Manchester City. I'll take a 3-1 win. Tony, I do play fantasy football. I've just been doing a little trial throughout the season just to see how I get along, including dipping my feet into doing predictions and things like that, just to try and vary up the content and try and not so much kickstart more of a love-in with Premier League football, but I do find myself predominantly focused on Manchester City, that I don't really have a good chance to watch everything else that's happening in the Premier League. So at the start of this season, I did fantasy football just by myself, just to see how I get along, and I actually don't think I've done too bad. So if Fantasy Premier League is your kind of thing, I can set up a league for next season and see how we all do, and it's be good to get a few people on the live streams who are tuning in, so we can have a little segment and speak about fantasy football, if that is your kind of thing. It all depends on how much interest there is in that. I don't do too bad. I tend to score above average on each match day. Varied up my team this week because of the injury to Erling Haaland, as Benny says there. The news on Haaland is a gutter. It's very gutting that we see Erling Haaland out injured just as he was, for me, just starting to kind of find form. And I could have seen Erling Haaland going on and grabbing another 5 or 10 Premier League goals between now and the end of the season. Might have been enough to get a golden boot. Might not have been enough with how good of a season Mohamed Salah's having, but here we are. Yeah, no problem, Tony. I can try and sort that out for you guys going into next season. Manchester is blue. It's a big question. I'm not sure. I like Jack, but I'm not sure, if I'm being completely honest. And thank you for tuning in. It says, can we please win a game and keep a clean sheet? That would be the dream, wouldn't it? A win and a clean sheet. Cruno, thanks for tuning in, cheering on Manchester City today, and Barca going with a 1-1 draw. There's a couple of people there. I think City dropping some points today. That's Manchester City. Hoping that's not going to be the case. So, on SofaScore, I'm going with Man City to win today's game. 86% of users going with a Man City win, with 6% going with a Leicester City win, and 8% going with a draw. So, the match officials for today's game: Darren England taking charge of the game, averages 0.13 red cards per game with 3.66 yellow cards per game. Very quickly, just having a look at the lineups, I like to look at the average age. Average age of Manchester City's squad today at 25.5 years. Leicester City's average age at 26.5 years. So Leicester a little bit more experienced than City. So it's nice for City to have a bit of a youthful look about their team. So Leicester City lining up today, led by manager Ruud Van Nistelrooy, former Manchester United striker, with a 3-4-2-1 formation. It's Hermansen starting in goal. Faze, Coady and Thomas as their back three. James Justin goes on the right. Christiansen on the left, with Ndidi and Samare going through the middle. Patson Daka starts further ahead of the midfield, with El Kanu starting on the left-hand side, and captain Jamie Vardy starting up top for Leicester City. On the bench for them today, they've got backup goalkeeper Stalzik, they've got Koulibaly, Oakley, Piera returning back to the squad from injury, Skip, Reed, Buonate, Mavididi and Jordan Ayew. They are missing Fatua, but there we go. Moving on, Manchester City. We're lining up today with Ederson in goal. Matheus Nunes once more given the nod. He starts on the right-hand side. Nico O'Reilly getting a start today thanks to his 2 assists and his very impressive performance from the bench against AFC Bournemouth at the weekend in the Cup. He starts on the left-hand side with captain Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol going as Man City's 2 centre-backs. Into midfield, you've got Nico Gonzalez and Ilkay Gundogan playing as a double pivot for Manchester City today. Further ahead of them, you've got Jack Grealish playing behind striker Omar Marmoush, with Savinho going on the right-hand side and Jeremy Doku starting on the left-hand side. On the bench for Manchester City today, you've got Stefan Ortega-Moreno, Vitor Reis, Rico Lewis, Mateo Kovacic, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, James McAtee, and it's brilliant to have the return of Oscar Bobb out injured for Manchester City today. You've got Manuel Akanji, Rodri, Nathan Ake, John Stones and Erling Haaland. No mention yet, or as far as I'm aware, about Claudio Khusanov. I do believe the rumours are he's been rested, not injured. I hope that is true, and hopefully he'll return back to the Manchester City squad ready for the game against United at the weekend. I do believe Khusanov, obviously playing for Uzbekistan, he got married during the international break. He's been here, there and everywhere, and I think City have just taken their opportunity just to try and give him a full week's rest. I might even give him a rest for the derby as well and have him raring to go once City are playing once every week from here on out to near enough the end of the season. We will have to wait and see. City's next game, of course, the Manchester derby at the weekend, and then we don't play for 6 more days until we play against Crystal Palace on the 12th of April. So that's covered all the talking points from this game, so don't forget, leave a thumbs up. We're now 74 likes away from 100. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget as well to get your thoughts in the live chat. And one last shout out to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. And a big thank you to SofaScore for sponsoring today's live watch-along. Right, just got my stream ready because the game's not being broadcast live today in the United Kingdom. So, rules for today's live stream a little stricter than normal. Outside of my things that I can help, the game's not been broadcast live, so you guys watching in real time are going to be ahead of me. I can't help that because the game's not being broadcast in the United Kingdom today. I have to use the streams. The streams are normally notoriously 20 seconds, 30 seconds behind. Excuse me, sometimes it can even be 40, 50 seconds behind. So I would appreciate anybody that is leaving their thoughts in the chat. If you're ahead of me, not spoiling it for me. I like to keep an eye on the chat. I like to interact with everybody. I don't want people saying, oh, there's been a red card. Oh, there's been a goal. Oh, this has happened, or that's happened. I then know that things are happening, and I'm not able to then give my authentic reaction for you guys. It spoils it from my point of view, and I know you guys watching aren't wanting my reactions to be spoilt because somebody's decided to try and ruin what's happening. It's outside of my control, so I can't do anything with the game not being broadcast here in the UK, so I would appreciate anybody not spoiling it for me. Not only spoils it for me, it spoils it for everybody that's wanting to enjoy the stream. So yeah, thought I would give that one a mention. Other points for the chat. Only other rule we have a good time, but don't spoil it for others. So, players have made their way out of the tunnel. Game is ready for kickoff. Leicester City are lining up in their home shirts today. Jean, thank you for tuning in. So he's got a soft spot for Leicester. They're owned by the Ties, they certainly are. He reckons Jamie Vardy's going to grab a goal today. And thank you, Benny, much appreciated. Adam, thank you for tuning in. Going 5-0 today to Manchester City. And the game's not being broadcast today because it's not been selected for television. Normally, it's a rulings that they have for, as we do have kickoff, so that's the exact time that I'm up to, so some of you guys will be ahead of me. Yeah, Kawami, I'm hoping for a good win as well. Normally we get it with a 3 p.m. blackout. Obviously, that's a Saturday game. Today's not a Saturday, it's a Wednesday evening. I'm not entirely sure why the game's not being made available for broadcast. I know that they've introduced this season in the English Football League that for midweek games, a large majority of them are made available on Sky Sports through their red button option. So you have the option to be able to watch the game on Sky Sports Plus. I'm not too sure why they've not made all these midweek games available for broadcast. Obviously, on the main channels, you can have your main selections. So the Merseyside derby is available for broadcast. That has been selected for TV broadcast, but this game and many other games haven't. So they're not being broadcast in the UK. And it seems quite crazy that the game's been played in England, but you cannot actually watch the game live in England unless you're at the stadium. And obviously, you can see hordes of empty seats. There is a protest going on from Manchester City in the last 7 days going into partnership with Viagogo, which is a ticketing company notorious for taking tickets and selling them on way above face value. Man City fans have had lots of problems this season with lots of opponents' teams, fans sitting in the home end, celebrating when their team score, and there's been a lot of problems from there. So because of that, it's led to fights inside the stadium. There was a Liverpool fan celebrated in the South Stand lower that caused all kinds of problems. And it seems like Man City are wanting to try and encourage by going into partnership with Viagogo that this is the direction they're going to be going in as Man City do grab the opening goal of this game. It's a lovely pullback from Manchester City, and there's Jack Grealish there just beyond the penalty spot, strokes it into the back of the net, and it's exactly what we spoke about at the start of the stream, about Man City really need an early goal today to try and break open the game plan from Leicester City. Jack Grealish, he's back starting in central midfield, putting the ball into the back of the net and giving Manchester City the lead here at the Etihad Stadium. We'll speak more about the protest in just one moment, but obviously a lot of the fans have missed that moment from Manchester City. Perfectly onside. A good cutback. Grealish literally right next to the penalty spot, just strokes it into the goal. A well-timed finish from Jack Grealish. That'll do him the world of good. Manchester City lead here against Leicester City by 1-0. A good, cool finish that from Jack Grealish. And it's good to see Savinho grabbing an assist for Manchester City as well. You know, I was calling on seeing more goals and assists from the likes of Savinho and Grealish, and there they are combining to grab the opening goal of this game. James, I'm having to use a stream to be able to watch this game, so I will be behind a lot of people watching in real time. Leicester City now got themselves a throw-in right outside the Manchester City penalty area. Leicester City attacking from right to left, playing in their home shirt. So navy blue shirt, shorts and white socks, with Manchester City today playing in their home shirt, sky blue shirts, I think the white shorts and navy blue socks. City attacking, that's Man City attacking from left to right. All Things Football, thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. So yeah, City's partnership with Viagogo has not gone down very well, and because of that, Manchester City fans have decided to do a protest where they've gone into partnership 9 times with different ticketing companies and have decided to do an official walkout for the first 9 minutes of this game. So all the fans will have entered the stadium, will be on the concourse rather than in the stands, which is why you're going to see an array of empty seats. And I do believe that City were charging quite a lot of money for today's game. Tickets in the South Stand Upper were available for £30, which is a good price. Them tickets, I do believe, have more or less sold out. There's lots of other seats from season ticket holders who haven't turned up today with the game being midweek, and they're charging 50, 60, even up to £65. I think the most expensive ticket is for today. For a midweek game against a team in relegation is very excessive. So the Man City fans have decided they've had enough about the ticket fiascos and wanting to stage a demonstration. And hopefully things will get sorted. They've still not announced a season ticket information for next season about how much the prices are going to be and what's going to be happening with the new expansion and who's going to be going in there, because of course that's going to be available from January of next year. So City fans aren't happy with the direction of the corporate side of things and making their voices heard. I'm surprised they've not asked for an official boycott today in the concourse. You want to try and hurt the club, you hurt the club through the pocket, as far as I'm concerned. You don't spend your money. If everybody turns up at the stadium and nobody spends a penny, the club will soon start to listen, as far as I'm concerned, rather than you're not inside the stadium. I think COVID showed that these big Premier League clubs that can cope without fans inside the stadium, they can still make money. They obviously prefer to play in front of fans, as Pep Guardiola said in his press conference. Fans are everything to the football club, so he wants them on side. Speaking of Pep, he's in the stands today. Suspended after picking up a yellow card against Bournemouth. So, not on the touchline. Juan Marlilo will be giving the instructions. Pep Guardiola looks like he's in his box. He's got some chap next to him. I'm not too sure who it is. Just keeping an eye on what's happening in the game today as Leicester City look to try and break forward. And there's a lovely bit of cover in there from Matheus Nunes. He did all the hard work there, Matheus Nunes, and ends up giving the ball away as Savinho looks to try and put the press on to Christiansen there. I think Leicester City do well to keep hold of the ball. They're going to move the ball from left to right now. Here's Justin just working a pass back. Julia, welcome. Do hope you are well. Thank you for tuning in once more. A lovely finish from Jack Grealish, getting the opening goal of today's game. Manchester City leading by 1-0. So don't forget, guys, do leave a thumbs up now. 69 likes away from 100. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Do subscribe if you're new around here, and do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. Links and details, they are in the description. His face now working the ball to the right-hand side to Justin. My stream's not the best. Keeps being a bit laggy. So apologies for that. Just keep cutting out every now and then. I can cope. It's giving me enough to be able to do my live watch-along, but it's not amazing. There's Leicester City now into a good position. A chance to put a ball into the box. Not a very good ball into the box, and defended well by Ilkay Gundogan, and Manchester City are going to push forward. Thank you, Seamus. Yeah, all good from Jack Grealish grabbing that goal. Hopefully that'll do him the world of good. Yeah, the ticket prices, the club just needs to have a bit of a rethink when it comes to their tickets. Obviously, people are going to start making their way into the stands in the next minute, as we're in the into the 9th minute now. But there's going to be, I think there's over 2,000 empty seats that haven't been sold for today's game. From season ticket holders not turning up. There's many more season ticket holders who don't agree with the club's policy about if you don't turn up, you can release your ticket back to the club, and the club then move that ticket on, and the club's been moving them tickets on using premium hospitality experiences, and the fans are arguing that it's attracting opposition fans to come in and neutrals who aren't helping with the atmosphere. They want Man City home end tickets to be going to Man City fans only. And I think the most frustrating part is City have got over 100,000 Manchester City members, lots of whom would love to be able to go to the game as regularly as possible, who unfortunately, being priced out of being able to go. Tickets for today's game, if you didn't manage to grab the tickets up in South Stand Upper from the return tickets that have come in from that have come in from Leicester City returning their tickets, you'd have been paying north of £50 for a midweek game against the relegation team. Because of Man City's pricing categories, it's not right. Man City earn the most money out of any club in the Premier League. They just don't need to rinse the fans. You're taking your family to a game. Say take your partner and a couple of kids. But you're looking at about £120, £130 for tickets for today's game for 2 adults and 2 children. Buying food inside the stadium, it's not cheap. Drinks, sweets. You're looking at a whole day out costing probably £200 for a midweek game against Leicester City. It's crazy. So it'd be good to see the club put some initiatives on. For the less in-demand games, cheaper tickets, cheaper food. Season ticket holders get the discount. I've seen some season ticket holders even saying that they're not happy that the club are tracking when they're inside the stadium and what they're spending money on, because they ask if you've got a season card, and if you do, you get a discount, but that sends it through to an electronic system so the club know exactly what you're spending your money on. A good way to track algorithm to see what's going on, but some people don't like that kind of thing. I'm not aware that was consultated to anybody that the club were going to be doing that either. So, anyway. I could sit here for 60 minutes and speak about the things that City do that, for me, aren't quite right that they could look on. But I'm hoping fan engagement's going to improve from the club soon, that they'll be able to sort that out themselves through good fan representation and the club actually listening to the fans and their representatives. Fans aren't fake. They'll happily meet the club halfway. At the moment, though, I feel like it's the club that's dictating everything. It's sad, quite sad. These City fans, the season ticket holders especially, they've been through thick and thin. And it's quite sad that people have been season ticket holders 20, 30, 40 years who can't afford to go anymore. That's not a reward for loyalty. That's a cash is king, and whoever's got the big money can have the ticket. Doesn't help atmosphere, doesn't help the team. So yeah. I think it's become more prominent and more notable that this has been happening ever since the treble winning season. I remember having a few comments to make about the Man City Real Madrid second leg semi-final game, because I've been a member at the club for over a decade, and I've got over 600 points at City, which means there were people who were coming in and spending their membership money, which was £35, and they were given the same priority. So there were Real Madrid fans, there was loads of neutrals who wanted to go to a big semi-final second leg, who were getting tickets ahead of fans who'd been supporting the club for decades, like me, who missed out. And it was all a bit of a ticket fiasco, and the criterias weren't put in place properly, and the club's kind of sorted that out, but they're still having problems through their ticketing pricing and the decisions that they're making, like going into partnership with Via No-Go. The hospitality causes a bit of a ruckus as well. Hospitality packages, like you can spend X amounts of money and you can have a meal at Pep Guardiola's Spanish restaurant in the city centre, and it'll guarantee you a ticket into the game, where you end up being sat amongst loads of City season ticket holders rather than a premium hospitality experience that people pay for. Wild. As I said, it's up to fan representation to sort that out. So if it carries on, you give it another 5 or 10 years, there'll be a lot of season ticket holders out the door, and you'll end up with a soulless club. full of neutrals and people who aren't interested in the club. And I think things get lost in translation. I know there's been quite a few fans who travel from all over the world, who travel to the Etihad, and some people feel unwelcome at the club because of how the loyal fans feel, and they hear somebody who's got a different accent and you feel like people are looking at you and things. And in actual fact, the Manchester City community and the fans are very, very welcoming. Very welcoming. And the good people, hard-working people. Here's City in another good position with Marmoush. So it's not quite right. Not quite right at City, between the club and the fans, and the direction the club want to go into and the direction the fans want to go into. And it's causing a bit of a stir, a bit of a crack, a bit of a stalemate at the club, and it makes things a bit poisonous, if I'm being completely honest. Makes things unsettling. Sorry, apologies, Jean. I was going on a rant. Catalonian cuisine, very similar to Spanish cuisine, tapas and stuff. I walked past the restaurant the other week, checked out the menu. I ended up eating at a place called Ivuna in Manchester, who do Spanish tapas cuisine. Very beautiful, very nice, and a little bit cheaper than Pep's restaurant. They do a lovely sangria in there as well. But it's a lot of people. Everyone in that stadium will be hard-working people who, everybody's got a price. They can't afford to do all this and do all that, and sometimes it comes across as City don't welcome tourists and don't welcome people coming from other countries, when in actual fact they do. It's just people who go week on week being priced out and aren't able to go, and people who are, Leicester City go very close. So good hit. That from El Khanis. Good hit. Ederson scrambling just wide. 16 minutes in. 1-0 Manchester City lead. Benny, I love tapas as well. Spanish cuisine's top tier. It's a highly underrated cuisine. Highly underrated. Some of the meatballs they have in there, fantastic. Seamus, a lot has to be said for the German model of fans owning the club. They have their say. They keep prices pretty cheap. Outside of Bayern Munich. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich's the biggest club with who makes the most noise in the Bundesliga. But if you're prepared to dip outside of Bayern Munich and have a good look at the German model and the Bundesliga 2 and stuff, very affordable with top quality atmospheres, with the fans getting a good say on the infrastructure and running of the of the club. I do feel like Man City are heading towards elected fan representation to make decisions towards ticketing and the criterias and the breakdown of tickets. There's been a huge ruckus caused in the away end. There was one lady, been following City for years, who got slated for them having a ticket for the Manchester derby at the weekend, and I don't think they've been to a City game in over a year. Obviously not a season ticket holder, but managed to pick one up through their official Manchester City supporters group that they're part of, that you apply for, and if successful you get given a ticket, and they've managed to get a ticket when tickets are like a premium. And because the supporters groups located in the areas around Manchester are very popular with Man City fans, the likeliness of you being able to get a ticket through your supporters group is much less likely than you are if you're applying for a ticket, let's say if you're from, I don't know, Australia or the USA. There's not going to be that many travelling over to England for said game. So their likeliness of getting a ticket is more likely than a local who lives closer to Manchester. And you have season ticket holders part of these supporters groups who aren't getting close to these big away games because they've not got enough points. Regulars who've been going 20 or 30 years, they're not then able to get a ticket. Some of them have never been to Old Trafford and watched a Manchester derby. Yet somebody who's not a season ticket holder, who's from Tennessee, gets a ticket in that away end. And you're thinking to yourself, doesn't really make sense. On the other side of things, you get the less in-demand away games and people can't be bothered doing the travel. There's been quite a few away games this season that have dipped quite low on criteria that people haven't bothered with. Midweek games to Spurs in the Premier League, midweek games to Spurs in the Cup. As a ball gets played in towards Savinho there by Manchester City. Geordie, thanks for tuning in. It's going to be a very tight fight. Hopefully, top 5 will be Champions League, and hopefully Newcastle and Manchester City will be able to make their way into the top 5 and Champions League football for next season. Something has to give. Chelsea and Newcastle City are more than likely going to miss out because it doesn't look like Forest are going to slip up anytime soon. So, yeah, here we are. All things football. I'm not too sure about which keeper City would be targeting, to be honest. I really like Diogo Costa, but there's lots of people that keep playing him down. I think he's a good, solid keeper. Good distribution on him. He's a decent shot stopper. Good penalty stopper as well. He's a good goalkeeper. I think you get him for a good price. I'd be more than happy to have him. Barca, the weather in Tennessee is certainly a lot nicer than it is in Manchester. Excuse me. Adam says he comes over from Ireland, so him and 5 friends tend to come over 4 or 5 times a season, and it's affordable, and it's a good do, and it's fantastic to hear. I like people coming in from here, there, and everywhere to be able to experience culture and experience Manchester and Manchester City and be able to watch City on a regular basis. It gives you something to look forward to, keeps you motivated, it encourages you. I always find you end up getting the football bug. You go once, you go back, and you think, I want to go again, and you go again, and you go back, and you just want to keep going, doing more and more and more. And that's the love of football. And it's fantastic to see. I mean, I live far closer to the Etihad Stadium, yet I still don't manage to get to the Etihad Stadium anywhere near as much as what I do as, life just gets in the way. As you get older, you get more responsibility, you get more things that you have to pick and choose between, and, your time is pretty precious as you get older and older, so I've ended up doing more live watch-alongs this year than I did in the previous season. But it gives me more opportunities to be able to interact with you guys and speak about Manchester City. So I'm not going to complain with that. I think it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Jean, I've no idea who's sat next to Pep. I don't know who it is. Peter, thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Anyway, that's my ticket rant over with. That's why the protest's going on today. There's a good ball played forward here by City into the penalty area. It's a good turn. Savinho is having a good game. A ball comes in and well defended by Leicester City. To the edge of the penalty area. Jack Grealish picks the ball up. Here's Jeremy Doku now. That's well shielded out by Leicester City. As we're 22 minutes in, so don't forget, leave a thumbs up. We're now just 11 likes away from 50. Do subscribe and do go and check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details there in the description. Manchester City then on the offensive, looking to try and grab their killer 2-goal cushion. Doku driving to the byline into the penalty area. Manages to take an extra touch, causes Leicester some problems, but Leicester will pick that ball up and be able to, or should be able to get that one clear. But a heavier touch means Jack Grealish is interested, picks that ball up, and I'm glad Peter's said that. Jack Grealish having a very good game for Manchester City, popping up everywhere through the centre of the pitch, tracking back. He's now on the left wing for Manchester City. It's allowing Doku to invert and cut closer to the striker as a ball gets threaded through there and straight into the arms of the keeper. So no danger there to the Leicester City goal. We could do with that second goal. I feel like that just takes away Leicester's game plan. It's going to force them to come out because I don't think Leicester City are just going to sit there and park a bus if you end up being 2-0 down after 25 minutes because your game plan's just not working. And the heads will start to drop, the concentration will drop, and they could end up conceding 4 or 5. And at some point, Man City want to try and get Leicester City into the game to try and have a pop at us, to try and give us a bit more space to work with. At the moment, I think Leicester are just happy to try and keep it tight and happy to watch that clock tick down. And the game plan will be try and keep it at 1-0 for as long as possible. If you can get it to at some point in the second half that you can send players forward and chuck a kitchen sink at Manchester City, it might just be an outlet for them to maybe grab a goal and get back into this game. So we want to try and have full control of this. And I feel like a second goal for Manchester City, as long as we stay switched on, should be enough for the 3 points today. But it's Manchester City, it's a crazy season, anything can happen. We were 3-0 up with 15 minutes remaining against Feyenoord, and we ended up coming out of that game at home with just a point. I have PTSD from that game. So we could be 3-0 up, and I'm not going to sit here comfortable. We have to be 4-0 up for me to be comfortable now because of that game. Here's Leicester coming forward, showing a bit of attacking finesse to try and cause Manchester City some problems, but it's well defended by Manchester City. A lovely trio combination to ensure that Manchester City can win that ball back and do win that ball back. Is City then working it to the right-hand side. Matheus Nunes given the nod today ahead of Rico Lewis. Here's captain Ruben Dias. He's going to work it to the left-hand side. His ball's not the best, and that is going to be cut off by Leicester. Doku could win this ball back, does win the ball back, but the referee says that he did do so through fouling Ndidi, and that is going to be a free kick for Leicester City. I mean, it's a little step there from Doku. He does slip there, indeed. It's a little harsh there on Jeremy Doku. I don't think Doku does much wrong there, to be honest. It's a bit of a lucky break there for Leicester City. The commentator who I'm listening to here said referee felt sorry for Leicester City, that he thought he'll give him a free kick rather than a potential opportunity for Manchester City. Not seen too much of Nico O'Reilly at this moment. Having more of a defensive responsibility for City today. A bit of a different test to the one that he had against Bournemouth, as Leicester managed to get a ball into the box, and Ndidi sends a deep one hooked in, kept in, I thought, there by Jamie Vardy, but linesman's ruled that it's gone over the touchline, and that'll be a goal kick for Manchester City, which Ederson's going to take 26 minutes in here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City leading by a 1-0, as we're now 8 likes away from 50, so any help towards that would be much appreciated, guys. Here's Nico O'Reilly now, just works it to Josko Gvardiol. Josko Gvardiol playing very much as a centre-back today in the absence of Claudio Khusanov. I think he's rested, more so than injured, I'm hoping anyway. As Ederson plays a pass to Nico O'Reilly now. He's got the support of Josko Gvardiol. He looks to try and bring Manchester City forward. Plays the ball to Matheus Nunes. He's got some options in front of him. He chooses to go back, though, to Ruben Dias. He's going to work it now to the left and Nico O'Reilly. Can we find a way to get Nico O'Reilly forward and into this game is the question. It looked very sharp on Sunday for Manchester City in their away game against Bournemouth, which City won by 2-1 in the FA Cup. See, Manchester City set up a date with Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup semi-final, and Man City's only option for a domestic trophy this season is the FA Cup, so City will be taking that game very seriously. So good tackle in there by Savinho. He's having a very good game, and Matheus Nunes does very well to keep that one in as well. He's got options ahead of him. He chooses to go backwards, though, and City are just going to try and work this from right to left. And here is Nico O'Reilly now, tries to thread a pass in. Well intercepted by Leicester City. We're looking for Omar Marmoush. Should be intercepted by City, Manchester City that is, and is. Southampton 1-0 up against Crystal Palace. It's an interesting one. There you go, Benny. I've managed to get the clock back up to date for you, and it's not up to date. It's not because of my stream through OBS and YouTube. It's my stream that I'm physically watching. It glitches stutters, stops, then goes. David, thank you for tuning in. It's a lovely message, that, David. It means the world to hear that, really does. Says, I'm glad I found your channel. I'm in hospital, unable to watch any matches, and I miss listening to the games with my father. I know he'll be listening at home. Thank you for doing this. You are more than welcome. And I do hope you make a speedy recovery in hospital, and you'll be reunited with your family very soon. You'll be able to watch your love for Manchester City as regularly and as enjoyable as ever. So wishing you a speedy recovery there, my friend, and thank you very much for letting me know that. It means the world to me. Here's City then working it. Manchester City down to the left-hand side. Here's Jeremy Doku up against Justin. Here's Nico O'Reilly. Just forced to cut inside, and that should be intercepted. It's spilled and in. It's a good finish in the end. I think off the underside of the crossbar. It's Omar Marmoush with the goal. It's a gaff from the goalkeeper. It's a gift for Manchester City, but it is that killer 2-goal cushion that Manchester City were looking for, and City, patience pays off. 2-0. They lead here at the Etihad. So a real good finish from Marmoush. I thought he just got his foot underneath it just a bit too much and put it onto the crossbar, and he ends up hitting the underside of the crossbar and into the back of the net. Thankfully for Manchester City. Ball comes in there, I think, from Gonzalez, looking for O'Reilly, and keeper spills it. Keeper. I think Fayez just gets in the way of the keeper. He does, and Marmoush can't wait to pounce. Just puts his foot through it, underside of the crossbar, into the back of the net. Good finish for Omar Marmoush. And the absence of Erling Haaland, here we are. Mixed, thank you for tuning in, much appreciated. So he's got a question, so feel free to fire away. On the half an hour mark, Manchester City now 2-0 up, as we're now just 7 likes away from 50. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Do subscribe, and do go and check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details, they are in the description. Here is Ruben Dias then for Manchester City. A chance for him to work it down the right-hand side. He looked like he opted not to, but in the end does decide to do so. Mixed says, do I think the gulf between the Premier League and the Championship is getting bigger, looking at the bottom 3 of the Premier League and the top 3 of the Championship? Yes. I thought about this earlier on today about what can these Championship teams do to try and change things up. And I think the mentality of these teams that are promoted needs to change for them to be able to adapt fully into the Premier League. I don't think it's of any coincidence that Ipswich Town this season, who I think will finish 18th, and Luton Town did a good job last season, ultimately ended up relegated and not quite got the quality, but both them sides have near enough, apart from a couple of additions here and there, quality additions to their team. Obviously the big one for Ipswich Town, bringing in Liam Delap, and Luton last season was signing Ross Barkley. They're pretty much just sticking to what worked really well for them in the Championship. They've not quite got the quality to be able to compete, but these teams they're not used to losing in the Championship, so they don't really have any way of adapting. Vincent Kompany struggled with it with Burnley. Too good for the Championship, nowhere near good enough for the style that he was looking for in the Premier League. There's too many good teams. And I think it's so easy for these Championship teams who are promoted to underestimate some of the quality that they find around them. Look at the teams that you find down in the bottom half, your likes of your Crystal Palaces, your Wolverhampton Wanderers, Everton, West Ham. These are experienced, good Premier League teams who, for me, aren't going to be relegated. So, there we go. To bridge that gap, I just think you've got to try and stick to the basics. If I'm Leeds United, I'm looking to try and add 2-3 good players to their team and see what works in the Premier League for next season if they end up going up. Same can be said with Sheffield United, same can be said with Burnley as well. I think one thing you've got to be when you're a newly promoted team, you've got to be difficult to beat. And these teams that have come up, for me, as that's a good pullback and a big chance here for a third, and somehow it's not gone in by Manchester City. I think the biggest problem that they've got is these teams are too open. Leicester City are looking to park a bus here. They're not a park a bus team, so it doesn't suit them. As we see the first yellow card shown. Benny says, sorry Jay, my bad. I was not in sync, doing a great job, fella. Think I'll leave it to the professionals, maybe a cocktail at half-time. No, don't worry about it. My clock is currently, I'll have to pause it again because my stream keeps stuttering. So my clock's slightly ahead because it's just running in real time without taking into consideration. That's a cynical foul that from Jamie Vardy on the back of Omar Marmoush's calf. That is a nasty challenge that actually from Jamie Vardy, a naughty one. So I'll just wait for the clock to catch back up again. Savinho's having a blinder on this right-hand side. He's finding players. It's clear he's been working on end product, which is fantastic. Maybe the JSGC criticism of Manchester City's attacking players' end product. I might have got slated for it, but maybe the players have listened. Constructive criticism. I don't do it lightly. I don't do it for clicks and views. I'm doing it because I want the City team to improve themselves. So City have got themselves a free kick here in a pretty good position. A good position to put a ball in. It's a similar position that we saw Nico O'Reilly score a header against Plymouth from in that equaliser just before half-time back in the FA Cup 5th round. A very similar position. A chance for a right footer to put their foot through it and for someone just to get a nice flick on into the back of the net. We've got Gundogan stood over this along with, I think, Savinho. So what can City do from this? Manchester City. I keep saying that. I think it's going to be Gundogan to take. He whips one in. It's deep. Picked up. Back post. Square it back across. Square it back across. Oh, Marmoush has a shot. So it was a very quick pass played in. So he didn't have... he did well to get a shot away there, in my opinion. As Doku takes his man on. He goes down. Pen? No. Doku wants a penalty there. I don't know, The City players are really unhappy about this. Adam, huge shout out to you. Member for 8 months at the JSGC channel. A huge shout out to you. Absolute legend. Says, big up Jason and Aaron. Get yourself a beer. Love that one. Adam, thank you so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. And thank you for being a member for 8 months as well. Seamus, I agree. I'd like to see some attacking football from Manchester City for the remainder of the season. Take the game to our opponents. I just feel like since we've come back off the international break, City just looking a bit sharper and a bit more full of confidence. As no penalty. Referee's happy for the corner to be played instead. What have City been working on in their set pieces? Who knows? Goes to the near post. Keeper gets a fist onto it and cleared. As we're now 5 likes away from 100, any help? From 50. So any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe and do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. We're closing in to just under 10 minutes left till half time. Chance here for Manchester City. Lovely work. It's a brilliant save. Absolutely brilliant save. Savinho couldn't have done any more. It's a fantastic save from the keeper. It's a brilliant effort from Savinho. I think he gets a good strong right hand onto this, the goalkeeper. His near post. It's a really good save. Manages to tip it over with his right hand. Really good save. A good effort that from Savinho. Desperately unlucky. Jean, it will be interesting. So next Saturday we see automated offside technology played, so it should speed up the process of offsides. It's the same technology that's used in the Champions League, going to be used in the Premier League. I don't know why they didn't introduce it at the start of the season, and I don't know why they're introducing it with just a few games left in this season, But it's progress, so here we are. Hopefully the officials will be able to utilise it properly, because there's been cases where they've been using it in the FA Cup this season, and then the technology's not worked and they've gone back to drawing up lines, and sometimes it can take 2, 3, 4 minutes for a decision to be made on offsides, when really it should just be flowing through the football. It should take seconds to decide, because you're either on or you're off. And it's where they always keep calling for a bit of leeway on the calls on field standing, if it's like half a yard here or half a yard there. Go with the on-field decision if it's half a yard either way. For me, it's a similar situation that they have with LBW in cricket. Benefit of the doubt kind of thing. If it's a really tight call, you know, somebody's offside by how big their elbow is or how knobbly their knees are. It's pretty crazy. So stay with the on-field decision if it's that tight. If they decided it's offside, you go with offside if it's in a tight call. If they said it's not offside, then you go with the on-field decision for me. Use a bit of common sense. It lacks. Steve, thanks for tuning in. I'm afraid Erling Haaland, injured. Out for 7 weeks, unfortunately. Won't be seeing him until probably the penultimate game of the season. I think Manchester City, the next aim for the next 7 minutes as we work our way towards half-time. I'd be looking to try and put this game to bed. Get a third. Dave says Derby will be worried Southampton winning and may beat their embarrassing points tally, which I'm fairly sure Southampton's manager had come out this week and said their aim is to make sure that they beat that points tally because they don't want to be classed as the worst team in Premier League history. Here's Manchester City into another good position. It's Savinho. He goes for a shot. It's well blocked. He could mop this up, you know. He's got support now. Jack Grealish dropping deeper, doing a good job in midfield today for City. Seamus, yeah, clear and obvious for everything. Give a benefit of the doubt. If it's a really tight call and you're 50-50, you stick with the on-field decision. Same goes with penalties and red cards. If you think, I'm not too sure, you stick with the on-field decision. Only change your decision if it's obvious that it's a mistake. Give that bit of leeway there. It might just help the game to flow a bit better. Let the technology run in the background. Once you get it right, you won't notice that it's there. For the closest and tightest of calls, for the biggest of games that can have huge implications on the season, I can get taking a bit of time. But for the large parts of it, sometimes we take forever looking at something that with the naked eye you can look at, you can just say, he's offside. Doesn't need any lines, he is offside. So hopefully that automated technology will speed things up a little bit. Because if you don't get it right, for me, you've got to strip it all away and just go back to basics. And, you know, you pay a lot of money to the officials, the linesmen, the fourth officials, the referee. Let them do the job. We could all have a grumble about a bad decision that the referee's made. And then we go back to our talking points. You know, you have a moan, you complain, you move on. But, you know, when you're using technology to make decisions and you're still getting the wrong decisions, it then, you know, becomes more officials, more moaning, and it just becomes a bit messy. So they could do a bit more to make it better, certainly. I think my biggest worry is the flow of the game. How often do I think to myself, I watched highlights the other day and brought a tear to my eye. Manchester City against Queen's Park Rangers from 2012, that Sergio Aguero moment. And I think to myself, what a brilliant moment, one of the best moments in the Premier League ever, Man City's best moment in the Premier League ever, potentially Man City's biggest moment in their history ever. The pendulum swing towards regular success for the football club pins on that moment. And I think to myself, if they had VAR when that moment happened, imagine how you would feel when Aguero pops that ball into the back of the net. You want to go berserk, and in the back of your head you're thinking, was he offside? Was there a foul in the build-up? And it just takes you away a little bit, and then you're left waiting, and if there's a little dubious decision, imagine an Aguero goal, and then seeing the big purple come up on the screen in the stadium saying, VAR check for a potential foul. Takes that moment away. It's City now. Chance to kill things off. Chance to kill things off. Savinho is saved by the keeper. And eventually the offside flag goes up. So, there we go. Jean, what you've heard is the City and Chelsea fans who have got banning orders are going to be banned from travelling over to the States to attend the games and causing any potential bother. I think the US are getting pretty strict on the wanting things to run smooth. So actually a really good practice session for the US when it comes to hosting the North American World Cup next year for the international tournament, for the international teams. And Leicester could have been in there. It's a good bit of cover defending from Josko Gvardiol. Jean, it is understandable to protest against VAR. I do sometimes just think to myself, they're overcomplicating things. Just let the referee do the job. And if the referee gets it wrong, the referee gets it wrong. We moan about it and then we move on. And it's kind of stripping things away back to the basics. If a system works and it isn't broken, why fix it? Closing in on being a minute away from half-time. Imagine there'll be a couple of minutes added on to end the half. As we do hit 50 likes, we're now halfway to my like goal of 100 likes. Any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe as well if you're new around here. And do go and check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details there in the description. So we are into the 45th minute here now of this game. As Manchester City lead here by 2-0 against Leicester City. I don't think Leicester are offering enough, and I do feel like the game plan for Leicester City completely goes at 3-0. So now's a perfect time to grab a third. It completely changes the team talk. At the moment, I think Leicester's just going to look at it and say, it's 2-0. Try and keep things nice and tight. If you can have that one moment, you get back into the game. What they don't want to have is be on the receiving end of 5 or 6 goal defeat. They want to keep things tight and close. And I do feel like City's best route into getting plenty of goals today is grabbing a third. Because Leicester will be pretty fearful that if City carry on, even with their defensive formation, City find 5 or 6 goals is very concerning. And not having a pop. It's the kind of thing that makes fans lose confidence in the manager. It's the kind of result that sees managers like Ruud Van Nistelrooy lose their job. At the moment, Leicester are on course for 8 losses in a row. They're going to be relegated pretty soon. As we're into the first of 2 minutes. Adam says, me and Aaron should come over for a Shamrock Rovers game. Do you know that's not a bad shout? That is not a bad shout. A JSGC football vlog in Ireland for the first time. That's not a bad shout. How easy is it to get tickets for? As Leicester City might have their last opportunity of the half. They're going to launch a ball into the box. Thomas, the centre-back, to come over to do a long throw. Gets launched into the box by Leicester. A long throw, flicked on. Header won by Leicester. Eventually City can get a foot onto that and get it clear. Ball gets hooked back in. Should be cleared by Manchester City and is. As we're nearly in at half-time now. Into the last moments. Here's Christiansen just working it down the left-hand side. El Canus now with the ball. But it's probably Leicester's best bit of knocking the ball around, as commentators curse there. They knock it out of play for a throw into Manchester City, and that should take us into half-time with Manchester City with a comfortable 2-goal lead. A bit of work to do in the second half to try and kill things off. So I think City's plan will be, they'll say at half-time, try and grab a third. As we do have the half-time whistle now. I think Man City's plan will be try and grab a third, kill things off, and start thinking about the Manchester derby at the weekend. Nico O'Reilly, he's not been too bad. I think he's had more of a defensive responsibility. It's been a different kind of game for him. And I actually think he's adapted pretty well. He's a good player. He's showing that he's not all about getting forward, attacking and creating opportunities like he was doing on Sunday. He's showing that actually I can defend and do a job at left back as well, which is really good to see with this little defensive crisis that Manchester City are currently having with Akanji, Ake, Khusanov all out injured. And John Stones as well, which isn't good. So, we're going to go around the grounds first and foremost with half-time scores. I'm just going to stick to the Premier League as I've got plenty to get through at half-time. So, half-time scores, AFC Bournemouth 0, Ipswich Town 1. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. Manchester City 2, Leicester City 0. Newcastle United 1, Brentford 0. And Southampton 1, Crystal Palace 0. All half-time scores. Newcastle staying hot on the tails of Manchester City. Aston Villa dropping some points along with Brighton. If that could finish level, that would be brilliant. And seeing Bournemouth dropping some points today would be pretty decent as well. I'd say that's actually been a pretty strong midweek round from Man City in the Premier League if these results pretty much stay the same. Currently 36 minutes in the Merseyside derby, Liverpool 0, Everton 0. I don't know if any of you guys watching at home maybe want to click over to the Merseyside derby, because once that goes to half-time, we will be ready for the second half for this game. So just having a look at the statistics using today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. Do go and check them out. I will roll the promo video right now and we'll speak about the statistics at half-time. And a big thank you to SofaScore for sponsoring this live stream. Do go and check them out. So, statistics. City dominating the possession, 64% for Manchester City, 36% for Leicester. Expected goal rate, City at 1.94, with Manchester City scoring 2 goals, pretty much matches up with that. Leicester not really offering too much. Their expected goal rate at 0.02. Currently had no big opportunities. 1 shot, which was off target. Manchester City with 2 big opportunities. They've managed to have 10 shots. Goalkeepers managed to make 2 saves. We've grabbed 2 goals, so 10 shots, 4 on target. Not the most clinical from Manchester City, but enough to be winning the game without causing any problems. Leicester, 1 shot, none on target, not causing Man City too many problems as of right now. 299 accurate passes from Manchester City, 84% pass completion rate in the final third. Leicester City's at 69% in the final third. Their long balls at 42%, Man City's at 50%. Crosses for Leicester, 0%, 29% for Manchester City. 149 accurate passes so far for Leicester City as well. And I do feel like their best outlet, long throws and set pieces, have just not managed to get forward often enough to try and cause some problems for Manchester City. So I think that'll be something Leicester will be looking to try and target. They've got to try and come out to play. They've got to try and play some football and try and get back into this game. They sit on 2-0 for as long as possible. It's not the worst result, but it's also not a good result. And with games running out in the Premier League, I'm looking at Leicester City now in the live league table, 19th in the Premier League, 12 points behind Wolves with 8 games to play. They're looking near enough gone with a by far worse goal difference. So, yeah. For Man City, though, we're in 4th spot, overtaken Chelsea. Newcastle currently, as it stands, in 5th. This is a good opportunity, in my opinion now, for Man City to try and assert themselves with goal difference. I'm thinking to myself, try and score 3 more times in the second half, get our goal difference to plus 20. It means we've got 5 goal difference on Nottingham Forest. As it stands, we'd have 10 goal difference on Newcastle United and plus 4 on Chelsea, and that could be crucial come the end of the season. Goal difference can act as an extra point, so if we're going to drop points, you don't lose by many, and when you win by a lot, so you can get that goal difference up. At the moment, 1 point above Newcastle in 5th, 2 points above Chelsea, with Chelsea playing tomorrow at home against Spurs, and 6 points behind Nottingham Forest, but we do have a better goal difference. And I've always said to you guys, what we want to be doing is targeting and looking up at the teams above us, and if we do that and keep picking up consecutive wins, and we can get a winning streak going, 3, 4, 5 wins in a row, will serve Manchester City really well. At the moment, it would be back-to-back wins if we can keep this the same at full time, and a good bit of form and confidence boost heading into the Manchester derby at the weekend away from home. And if we can win that game, all of a sudden things looking pretty positive ahead of a home game against Crystal Palace coming up the weekend after. We've got Everton away coming up the weekend after that. We've got a postponed game at some point coming up at home against Aston Villa. Still got home games against against AFC Bournemouth to play. We've got a home game against Wolves coming up as well. To me, there's a lot of good fixtures for Man City that we could be targeting, and we've got to do just a little bit more. Mixed, we will get to double in one day. Don't worry about it. We'll make it happen. So do get your thoughts in the live chat at halftime. What you're thinking, do let me know in the chat. That would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget as well to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Email also in the description too. Go and hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up on the stream now. Just 44 likes away from 100. Any help towards that would be great. And do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. So, I have some halftime entertainment lined up for you guys, as always brought to you by my partner channel, Mixed. Link is in the description if you want to go and check him out. Go and like and subscribe over there. Do sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink and snacks, and I'll see you ready for the second half. This is the Miami Vice. Enjoy.
What's going on, guys? Mixed here, back again for another summer cocktail, and today's summer cocktail, guys, is the Miami Vice, and I can't wait to show you this summer cocktail, because it absolutely looks beautiful and it's a delicious cocktail now. I can't wait to show you guys how to make it. So what you want to do, guys, is get your blender and put in about 2 cups of strawberries. Just to be clear, it's about 15 to 20 strawberries you want in. So the first ingredient to go in, guys, is 60ml or 2 ounces of white rum. Next, 45ml or 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice. The last ingredient, guys, is 45ml or 1.5 ounces of homemade cream of coconut. Alright, so let's blend right into it. That'll do. Put your lid on, put your head on, and now let's blend right into it again. Right, what we're going to do now is create a layer of the red and the white. But the trick to it is try and separate. But it's not going to be the easiest thing by myself, look. And there is my summer cocktail for 2021, the Miami Vice. You will not beat this. This is a 10 out of 10. That's absolutely beautiful. Strawberry and cream of coconut. It's just a perfect summer drink. It's very, very sweet and tiki-like. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I cannot recommend this highly enough for you. You must try the Miami Vice cocktail. I would recommend it to you guys. But I will leave the recipe in the description for you to follow. But that's absolutely beautiful and I can't get enough of it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But that, guys, is the Miami Vice cocktail. What do you guys think of it? Let me know in the descriptions below. Would you drink this for summer? It's absolutely beautiful. But that is all for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Mix It for more summer cocktails like this. Let me know in the comments below any summer cocktails you want to see for August. And I will create it. But that is the Miami Vice cocktail. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. And I will see you guys for the next cocktail video. Cheers.
And a big thank you to Mixid for providing today's halftime entertainment. As I said, do go and check him out. Links and details, they are in the description. That was the Miami Vice. Very well made. So, just in time, ready for the second half. The players are back out. Manchester City attacking from right to left, with Leicester City attacking from left to right. Manchester City leading by 2-0 thanks to a second-minute goal from Jack Grealish and a 29th minute goal from Omar Marmoush. Means Manchester City lead by 2-0 here against Leicester City. So we do have kick-off. Manchester City getting us underway for the game. Ederson just giving the ball to Nico O'Reilly, and Nico O'Reilly giving the ball back to Ederson, and Ederson giving the ball back to Nico O'Reilly. What's going to be the injection of urgency from Manchester City here in the second half? I imagine City will want to try and get things wrapped up ASAP. Normally Pep Guardiola would be the decision maker, but with him being in the stands today, Juan Marlilo in charge, and I'm wondering how long it's going to be before Manchester City start to perhaps make some changes with us playing every 3 to 4 days, players being out on international duty, how long do you give it before you start bringing on some players to see if they can make an influence on this game and get some of the other players well rested up, ready for the game on Sunday against United? I imagine City will probably want at least another goal before they start thinking about that. I do look towards the bench and I'm thinking to myself, it's a perfect opportunity here if City can get themselves into a good position where getting a third goal, you could bring on the likes of James McAtee and Oscar Bobb and get them some much needed minutes. And it'd be good to be able to give them some proper minutes as well. I'm not talking 2 or 3 minutes at the end. I'm talking giving them 30, 35 minutes to make a proper influence on the game. They'd be the players I'd be looking towards and just trying to preserve some of the other players, in particular any of the players that have started at the weekend against Bournemouth and started in this game as well. So I'm looking, obviously, the defenders, Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol have featured a lot, but were pretty limited when it comes to centre-back options from the bench. Ilkay Gundogan, of course, is Grealish into the penalty area. Opens up. Time for a shot. He goes down. He wants a pen. Jack can't believe it. He can't believe it. Ball gets played forward for Leicester City. It'll be cut off by Ederson and plays a good pass to Josko Gvardiol, and City will continue their next wave. Jack Grealish has a big smile on his face there. He's just a bit hesitant there, Jack. I'd like to have seen him just put his foot through that a little sooner once it had opened up for him. As Doku picks the ball up here on the left wing. Here's Doku now. Just having a listen to the commentator to see if there's any VAR check for that. Longer this goes on, I don't think that there will be. Here's Grealish. Nice little no-look pass. Finds O'Reilly. Here's Doku now. Doku looking like he's stretched more further out in this second half. It's a good ball played across to the right for Savinho. He's got the overlap of Matheus Nunes if he wants to use him. Nunes just cuts back and gives the ball back to Savinho. Again, another chance here for City to put a ball into the box. Try and show a bit of quality. Leicester do well just to force Manchester City back. Here's Josko Gvardiol now to Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish almost playing as a left wing back right now. City have had the ball for a long time here, so I presume there's no VAR check for that foul on Jack Grealish. There's a bit of space here for Nico O'Reilly. He's forced to go back. Leicester do well just to cover some ground. Here's Ruben Dias now to Josko Gvardiol. That's a good pass from Josko Gvardiol. And here's Nico O'Reilly then, looking for the options. He's got Marmoush ahead of him. He's got Doku on the left. He's going to get the overlap from Grealish. He's not going to use him. He cuts inside onto his right foot. Josko Gvardiol's quality. He's doing very well as a centre-back for Man City. Excellent distribution. Always been used really on the left-hand side for City rather than as a predominant centre-back. So a chance here with the injuries that we've got for Josko Gvardiol to shine in a role that we've not really seen him in. And I have no doubts that he'll do very well as Man City have the ball there for a good 3 minutes before eventually the ball trickles out of play for a goal kick to Leicester City. So let's have a look at this from Jack Grealish. I don't think it's a penalty, not for me. Not for me. Ball gets sent forward then by the keeper, sent long, as far away from the Leicester goal as possible. Header won by Manchester City. Second ball mopped up by Manchester City, as we now are only 39 likes away from 100, so any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe and do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. Yeah, Peter, no penalty for me either. Aquinas, thanks for tuning in. And Javi, thanks for tuning in. Quicksilver as well, thank you for tuning in. Here's Matheus Nunes now for Manchester City. To Nico Gonzalez. Here's O'Reilly then to Grealish. Doku. Chance for Jeremy to put a ball in. Here's Grealish back to Doku. There's a lot of knocking the ball around from City, but not turning them into shots. Just patience, and it paid dividends for City's second, and Leicester happy just to keep things nice and tight as it was in the first half, really. They're 2-0 down and they're not really coming out to play, and I'm wondering if they're just not going to bother to come out to play. Just focus on trying to keep it tight. If you manage to escape with not conceding in the second half and it finishes 2-0, then Ruud Van Nistelrooy will have some positives to take from it, is what I'm wondering. As long ball forward there from City, not very good, and that goes out of play for a goal kick to Leicester. Captain Ruben Dias with the ball forward there. I've just seen Mixed's team Preston behind against Derby County in their game in the Championship today. So I don't think Mixed will be too pleased with that. Long ball sent forward by Leicester. Goes to nobody in particular. Throw in for Manchester City, taken quickly by Matheus Nunes. City looking to work the ball back into the Leicester half as Josko Gvardiol's worked his way into a bit of bother there. And Leicester managed to steal the ball back, and a chance here for them to have some possession inside the Man City half, and they've done really well just to force Leicester back. Leicester have done really well to work this ball from right to left. And a good bit of knocking around this by Leicester. It's very difficult to have your concentration levels, and it looked like there had been a foul there by Gundogan, but referee says play on, so Man City now can come forward through Jeremy Doku on the left. Here's Ilkay Gundogan. He gives the ball to Savinho on the right. And starting to see Nico O'Reilly get forward a bit more for Man City in this second half. Here's Doku to Grealish. Good one-touch football inside the penalty area. Nico O'Reilly now. As the clock continues to tick away here. Not too much happening, if I'm honest with you guys. It's a very flat game. Just seen Derby County have now gone 2-0 up. Here's Jack Grealish then coming forward. Plays a good pass into the channel, and O'Reilly has a shot, and there's a good block there. Goes with the outside of his foot there, Nico O'Reilly, and it's unlucky and cleared well by Leicester. Aston Villa are now 1-0 up against Brighton and Hove Albion. Southampton still ahead, Newcastle still ahead. Level at half-time in the Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. Ipswich is still 1-0 up away from home. Against AFC Bournemouth. Anything changes, I will let you guys know. In the meantime, here at the Etihad, again, it's just been a common theme for the first 10 minutes of this half. Man City dominate the possession, knocking the ball around. Not much happening elsewhere. As Peter informs me, Marcus Rashford with a goal for Aston Villa as Omar Marmoush picks the ball up for Manchester City. Chance here for Ilkay Gundogan to have a shot and another good block. How many good blocks have we seen from Leicester in this game? Could easily have seen Manchester City come away with 4 or 5 goals today if it weren't for the well-placed defenders. It's difficult when you're going up against a team that's got, what's that? It's like 7 defenders behind the ball at any one time. It's very much just a case of don't to do anything stupid when it comes to Manchester City, to allow Leicester any route back into the game. End of the day, 2-0 win is a clean sheet, 3 points, come out injury-free. You're happy to move on to the next game. As Peter says, Aston Villa now 1-1 against Brighton. Brighton find an equaliser. Very interesting game, that, down on the south coast. Adrian says, Rashford doing well at Villa. Wan-Bissaka doing well. Anthony doing well in Spain as well, away from Manchester United. It's almost like maybe the players weren't the problems there, and they just had a system and a club that just weren't capable of finding the best out of them. Almost as though you can't just have a player plonk them in the team and say, do the job. It's got to be the right player for the right system, for the right things that they're looking for, with the right attitude. I always felt like the Marcus Rashford one was a bit strange. I can see Aston Villa paying big money for him in the summer. And I think Aston Villa really suits him with how they like to play and Unai Emery wants to play. Aston Villa are a team that want to have the football and dominate the game. They're more than happy to absorb and hit teams on the counter-attack. They're very good at that. They're a very good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they knock PSG out the Champions League. I really wouldn't. That Elanga goal that he scored yesterday was a very good goal. Another player flourishing away from United. But how many City youngsters that we've seen leave and start flourishing? Liam Delap's had a great season. Morgan Rogers, obviously with Aston Villa. It's just about finding the right club at the right time. Look at Jadon Sancho. He's never really found the right club since leaving Dortmund. And I actually, I rate Jadon Sancho. I think he's a very good player. It's a bit like it's just career suicide going to United at the moment. I don't get why players would want to go there. I really don't. If you've got offers from other clubs, why would you choose to go there? Do I think we'll win on Sunday? If we play to the best of our ability, yes. We made short work of United at the Etihad. We were just by far the better team and got sucker punched late on through our concentration levels and game management being poor. If we can find ways to create opportunities, there's a big opportunity here for City and somehow Marmoush doesn't score and goes out for a goal kick. If we can be clinical in front of goal and cut out our silly concentration mistakes, I'm confident we can go to Old Trafford and score 2 or 3 goals and win the game comfortably, to be honest. Man United play like they were playing yesterday, which is very poor. I mean, you know things are going bad for United when their options are send Harry Maguire up top because they've got no physical striker. Ruben Amorim's too busy trying to change things up all the time. Go with the different players because he's not got the right players for what he's looking for. So it'll actually be really interesting to see what business Man United choose to do in the summer. Normally I'd say United are going to copy Manchester City and look for them and target the same players, but it's just not going to work as El Khanous goes off and Banus comes on and O'Carley comes on and Christiansen comes off for Leicester City. So a couple of changes made by them. I presume O'Carley's going to go to that left-hand side as AFC Bournemouth now 2-0 down at home against Ipswich Town. AFC Bournemouth season crumbling in front of them. And they've done so well to get to this stage, and at the most important stage of the season, the business end of the season, just going to run out of steam and looks like they're going to sink into top half, maybe even into mid-table. It's not going to be a fair reflection on how good of a season they've actually been, because at times Bournemouth have been one of the best teams to watch in the Premier League, in my opinion. I can see them going out and bringing in a few sporting players. I mean, Man City might go in for a couple of sporting players, considering we've got Hugo Viana coming in from Sporting CP as well. You know, like Gyökeres, I can see him at Manchester United. I can't see City signing him. And maybe one or two others. But United's system's going to be very different to that of City, so they're going to need players who play them systems and workhorses, players that work hard. And what City are looking for in this window and what United are looking for are going to be two different calibre of players who do different things. So it won't be United going toe-for-toe for many players with City, I wouldn't have thought. And it'd be United just deliberately targeting specific players. It'll be interesting to see who them players are, who Ruben Amorim thinks are going to be the players that can turn it round, because he's under a lot of pressure, Amorim. He'll be given the time, he'll be given the summer window, but he doesn't get off to a good start next season. I can see him, if Manchester United aren't showing any signs of improvement by, let's say, after the November international break, I can see by December, Manchester United getting rid of another manager, which is what Julia was saying. The Manchester United struggle with their identity. They just chop and change things all the time, and they do that with the managers as well. Erik ten Hag was a wonderful manager before he went to Manchester United, and now everybody thinks he's a clown. They think he's a joke. He was touted as Pep Guardiola's potential replacement. Everyone was speaking about that and saying the same with Amorim. Yeah, if Amorim ends up not hitting the ground running next season and he gets sacked by United, lots of teams aren't going to want to go near him to hire him as their manager, and he's ended up taking one step forward to go two steps back. And I don't get why players and managers want to go there. Sometimes you're just best waiting. I'm amazed Ruben Amorim didn't wait, knowing that Hugo Viana was heading to Manchester City, that he waited to see what Pep Guardiola wanted to do with his future. Now, once he'd signed that new contract and he seeks a move away from Sporting CP, okay. But at the time, Guardiola hadn't signed that new contract, and if he hadn't signed that new contract, this could well have been the last season of Pep Guardiola, and it could have been Ruben Amorim, be a bit more patient, could have been the next Manchester City manager, and the job at City is far easier and more straightforward than that of a job at Manchester United. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Is City coming forward again? Edge of the penalty area is Savinho. Got two players around these players at any one time. Here's Jeremy Doku. He's tackled. Ball will be won back by Josko Gvardiol. But they're the problems that Man United are having. That's their problem, not Manchester City's problem. We've got our own problems. You know, we've got to work our way through this tricky spell of a lot of our defenders being out injured. Try and get some form running. See if we can secure Champions League football for next season. That will help us a lot. With a transition into the summer and bringing players in, being able to offer Champions League football. We're waiting to see what happens with the 115 charges, and we're also waiting to see if we can win the FA Cup. So there's still plenty to achieve for this season. Julia, thank you very much for the €1.49 donation. Much appreciated. Queen Julia, being a member at the JSGC channel for God knows when. Absolute legend here over on the JSGC channel. So a huge shout out to Julie. I'm sure Julie doesn't need me to mention how much of a legend I think that she is, but absolutely wonderful, helping to support the future content created here on my channel. Much appreciated, Julie. I do hope you are having a wonderful evening. City 2-0 up, on course for 3 points. Might not be the most thrilling of games, but it's very much a game of doing the job. Peter, I will be doing a stream on Sunday for you guys to enjoy for the Manchester derby. Looking forward to it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, 3 points. So we'll be back with another stream then. Is Leicester trying to come forward? Doesn't work. You see, Adrian, I'm not so sure United will give him time. United don't really seem like the kind of team to give managers time, and everything's dictated by what the fans want. The fans will be patient with Ruben Amorim. They will be patient with him until he's had a full window. And if he brings players in and they don't hit the ground running, and United don't hit the ground running, they'll look at it and say, you've been in charge here 12 months and we're going backwards, we're not achieving anything. It's time to change, get rid, I don't rate him. That's what the United fans are like. They'll put that pressure onto the club, and the club will, first sign of trouble, say, oh, get rid of him and bring somebody else in. He has his own system and he works with it. I'm not completely against a manager changing a system. I'm not completely against if Man City, in life after Pep Guardiola, have a manager who likes playing a back three rather than a back four. I mean, a large majority, Pep Guardiola is very adaptable. We've played back threes before. We've played back twos. We've played back fours. He changes things up for his opponents. We have different formations for how we're playing in transition of defending, of attacking. There's a lot of tactical analysis that goes into a football team, especially that of Manchester City being led by Pep Guardiola. And I would judge more a manager based on how adaptable they are. Pep Guardiola is one of the most adaptable managers out there. He can be very frustrating because he doesn't change things. He has his system and he'll stick to that system. And he'll get that system right, give him long enough. This back two, back three that we've been playing for near enough 12 months, it's not been the most fluent or most exciting that we've seen from Manchester City, but give Pep Guardiola another full summer, get his players back, get Rodri back into the team, I'm confident he'll have this team firing on all cylinders again. He'll know exactly how to do it, because he's the best manager in the world. He knows how to do it. He's proven to do it. There's the big difference between Pep and the rest. He's proven, and he can do it, and has done it. Nobody else has. So everybody else is getting the judgment eyes on them. And when Pep leaves and we get a new manager in, City will give them time, but the judgment eyes will be on them because it's basically like coming on after Queen had just done their Live Aid performance in the 80s. Who wants to follow up the best in the world? How do you follow up the best in the world? Because it's all going to be downhill. So it's going to need a bit of patience from the City faithful when that does happen that day. And that day will come. We've definitely missed Rodri this season. I'm not saying Rodri's all the problems will be solved at City, but I certainly don't think we'd be speaking about maybe not being in the Champions League next season if we had Rodri for the whole of this season. That's not the best of passes from Jack, and that'll be intercepted. Makes it saying Preston not just saved. No, they've still got some work to do. You want to make sure you're not losing to the teams down there. And they are. It is like replacing Fergus. How do you follow up someone who's done a tremendous job? It's so difficult to do. You've got to give them time and you've got to get that appointment right. But you've also got to give time to the manager as well. And something United don't do is give time to managers. I don't think David Moyes was the right appointment for them. I can see why they went for him. A solid Premier League manager, Scottish links, well liked by Alex Ferguson. I can see why they did it, but I didn't think it was the right appointment. Brentford equalised against Newcastle. It's good news. That's really good news. I do believe Bournemouth pulled a goal back as well. Julie, I wonder who the Notts fans were chanting that towards. Yeah, I do feel like City aren't killing themselves ahead of the game on Sunday. We could do. No teams had a shot on target here in the second half, and I feel like Man City have had over 600 passes at a 94% pass completion rate. I mean, Leicester's ain't too bad at 81%. City are just knocking the ball around. They're not doing much with it. They don't need to do much with it. Now, Vincent Kompany's an interesting one because I'm going to go back to what I just said to you guys about adaptability. Vincent Kompany had a brilliant opportunity last season with Burnley to show that he was adaptable to his style of play, to adapt to his surroundings, to do what was needed for the job that he needed to do. And he couldn't adapt it. He was continuing to play his style whilst not having the players who could play that style for a club that weren't capable of staying in the Premier League. And he did tremendously well in the Championship and didn't do very well in the Premier League. And it's very much judgment season for Vincent Kompany, because I feel like I love Vincent Kompany to bits, but he was the cheap option for Bayern Munich in the summer to bring in. And because he has come in, he's now got to hit that ground running and deliver the big trophies. They'll be content at Bayern Munich with a Bundesliga. They want the Champions League, though. Now, Vincent Kompany can deliver a Champions League to Bayern Munich as well. He's a tremendous success. And he's very much loves Manchester City. He loves Manchester. So bringing Captain Fantastic back, I'm never going to be against it. He's got a lot to prove. And he's doing a good job at Bayern at the moment. They are on course to win the Bundesliga. Can he get them that Bundesliga? How far can he take them in the Champions League? What can he do next season? Who can he attract? Who can he bring in? It might be a tremendous success at Bayern Munich, and if that's the case, how do we prize a manager away from Bayern Munich? Because they're a very big, prestigious club. To prize a manager away, it's not easy to do. And Xabi Alonso's done a wonderful job at Real Madrid, at Bayer Leverkusen, but I feel like he's being lined up by one club and one club only, and that'll be Real Madrid once the time comes for Carlo Ancelotti to leave. And that time will come as soon as Real Madrid don't win the Champions League. So if Real Madrid go out to Arsenal, that's Carlo Ancelotti out of a job. That's how brutal it is there. So a corner here for Manchester City. What can they do from it? As a cross comes in from Manchester City from Savinho, fisted clear by the keeper. You see, we laughed at Mourinho, and I remember the chant, Mourinho, are you listening? To the song that we're singing. We're 14 in front. But he managed to get Champions League football for Manchester United. It was never lingering down in 13th place or wherever Manchester United are for a whole season, and everybody laughing that there could be potential relegation fodder. And that's just it at Manchester United. They don't know what success is. You know, Man City obviously want to try and win the Premier League, but, you know, we're not going to win the Premier League. We might sit here and say it's been an unsuccessful season, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's been an awful, terrible season, because I say, well, what's the minimum expectations that we're looking for? Top 4. If we get a top 4 spot, I'm content with that. If we get a top 4 spot and an FA Cup, I'll be happy with that. A trophy, and, you know, we're able to move on with that. So it's all about managing the expectations, and Manchester United have just got ideas way above their expectations. It's very much, if we don't win the Premier League, it's not been successful. It's just not the case. You have to walk before you can run, and I think that's the big mistake that they make. I think that's something that Arsenal, I'm glad that Seamus brought up Mikel Arteta there. That's something that Arsenal's done very well in their post-transition from Arsene Wenger. You can easily go out there and hire the wrong manager. You need to transition. You need to walk before you can run. You've got to suffer through. You've got to be adaptable. And I think Mikel Arteta has really helped Arsenal to go from being that club that flirts with 4th, 5th place and not capable of competing to a team that's capable of competing. The big question now for Arteta is he capable of going from a team that's capable of competing to a team that's capable of winning? Because once you win one, it'll be quite a difficult team to stop. And I rate Mikel Arteta. I'm not sure how City fans feel about Mikel Arteta, but I always thought that Man City were at their very, very best when we had Pep and Mikel here. And I have no doubt in my mind that if Mikel Arteta came here, that Man City would continue to be a very successful team. I don't think he'd be as successful as Pep, but who would? And Mikel Arteta is certainly, to me, a fantastic next option. I just don't think he'd leave Arsenal. I think he'd be scared of the reaction. I feel like he's made his bed now, and he has to lie in it. And that ultimately means he won't be Man City's manager. I'm very interested with Liverpool and with Slot as their manager coming in from Jurgen Klopp's era. I was just trying to get my stream back up and running, so I'm not too sure what's happening. So if I've missed anything, I do apologise. There's no change to the scoreline as we're into the final 15 minutes. So don't forget, guys, do leave a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. We're now 36 likes away from 100. Do subscribe, and also don't forget as well to go and check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details, they are in the description. Vincent Kompany would probably be a safe bet for it. The question I have with Vincent Kompany is, what's going to happen at Bayern Munich, and is he at the level to be good enough for Manchester City? Winning a Bundesliga with Bayern Munich is, to me, near enough on par with winning a Liga 1 with PSG. 9 times out of 10, that's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, something's seriously gone wrong. Like last season in the Bundesliga, as James McAtee's set to come on for Manchester City here. So he's going to be given around, 13 minutes or so as a long ball gets played forward here. Jeremy Doku, it's a very heavy touch from Doku, but he still managed to get it under control eventually. He's taking his man on here. Here he is into the penalty area. I guess ball into the near post. It's cleared by Leicester. Jeremy Doku again getting into some really good positions, just looking for that end product as Manchester City are going to get themselves a free kick. Savinho's gone down in a heap of pain. The yellow card is out. He goes right through him there. Thomas into the book. Centre back. So a free kick for Manchester City and a chance to put a ball into the box. It must have been ruled out, that Brighton goal, because it was 1-1. It now says 1-0 Aston Villa. As James McAtee is going to come on here for Manchester City. I think it's going to be Jeremy Doku that's going to come off. So 30 minutes or so for James McAtee to see if he can do something here. I do wonder if we might see Oscar Bobb come on at some point. I'd be tempted in the next few minutes to take Omar Marmoush off and just protect him, ready for the derby. So Doku, I'm almost certain Doku will be starting in the derby. So Maka comes on, free kick for City. Can we do something from this set piece? It's been a bit of a boring second half, as Newcastle are now 2-1 up against Brentford. So Gundogan, Savinho stood over this. It's a crossing position, this, rather than a shooting position. It is going to be the right foot of Ilkay Gundogan, flicked in towards the back post. Floated ball in. I'm not too sure what that was from, I think it was McAtee, and in the end, free kick's going to be given to Leicester City. So near enough into the final 10 minutes here. Aston Villa now 2-0 up against Brighton, so that's going to be 3 points for Aston Villa. Newcastle 2-1 up against Brentford. Southampton still 1-0 up against Crystal Palace. And Liverpool are now 1-0 up against Everton in the Merseyside derby. As Leicester preparing another change. I think it's Ayew that's going to be coming on. So this is Leicester's way of they're going to chuck the kitchen sink at Manchester City to try and get back into this game and set up a grandstand finish. At the moment, but all too comfortable for Manchester City. They've not needed to get out of second gear, and as much as I said I was looking for Man City to try and push through their goal difference, because goal difference could be crucial come the end of the season. Manchester City are showing that they can manage a game. And I have been worried for a lot of this season about Man City's game management and fitness towards the end. So this is a good opportunity here in these next 10 minutes to show that they do have the fitness to compete for 90 minutes on the pitch, and they can manage a game to see out a result. As Nico Gonzalez brings down, I'm not too sure who he brought down. They're one of the Leicester players. He's been shown the book. Gone into the book, sorry. I think it's... I'm not too sure who he brought down, to be honest. Anyway, yellow card for Nico Gonzalez. So, chance here for Leicester for these last 10 minutes to bring that change on now. And Jordan Ayew is going to come on. And Patson Daka is going to be the player that makes way. As we're now 33 likes, guys, away from 100. So any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe. Do go check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details there in the description. So some defending here for Manchester City to do from this set piece. Ruben Dias. He's got one of his shorts pulled up. He looks like he's ready to pull the other one up and lead by example at the back. Ball's going to be floated in. Should be headed clear by Manchester City and is. I have to admit, this Ruben Dias, Josko Gvardiol centre-back pairings really worked well. Good with its ball distribution, good with its defending. Looks very comfortable. Looks like a good centre-back pairing. And what I really like is that, for the most part, we do kind of struggle with who are Manchester City's first choice defenders, and with so much rotation in place through injuries, we're now forced just to go with the same back four near enough, and I feel like that just helps settle things down. If you know who your partner's going to be game after game, then it works really well. As final moment there, Savinho just slips as City get a blistering counter-attack, turning defence into attack wonderfully there through minimal touches, and Savinho, in the moment where he's ready to strike the ball and put it into the back of the net, slips, and he's forced just to turn the ball backwards, and Man City go back to playing the ball, knocking it round in second gear. Man City must be on course here for 800 plus passes in this game. Ridiculous, the amount of passes that City have managed to play through, yet haven't really found too many ways in this second half of turning these passes into opportunities. Leicester have defended pretty well, and this game plan that Leicester have had will have been what they were looking for in the first half. Thankfully, after 2 minutes, we found a way to grab that goal from Jack Grealish, a well-taken goal and a good assist from Savinho. I think that's been the game-changing moment and the reason why Man City have ended up making this game more comfortable than perhaps what this game could have been. And I wouldn't rule out Leicester wanted to come forward to try and grab a goal, that might give City a bit of space to maybe go on and grab a third. It's what happened in the Leicester-Man United game in Leicester's last game. Through Leicester trying to work their way back into the game, left a bit of space, and it was picked off at the end for United to grab a killer third. And I feel like maybe Man City might just be looking towards that. Remain patient and wait for Leicester just to open up towards the end. And if you can defend well, then you will be given that opportunity to go out there and try and kill the game off. I do still feel like there's gold left in this game, so the game's not done, and I keep speaking about that Feyenoord game. I do have PTSD from that Feyenoord game, so the job's not done until the final whistle's gone, and I'm just hoping that'll help Man City for the remainder of the season to keep and remind the team that you can't afford to be complacent. Just because you're 2-0 up with 7 minutes remaining doesn't mean that you're going to win the game. You've got a job to do still. James McAtee still not signed a new contract. I'll be honest, I can see if he doesn't sign a new contract by the summer, him potentially leaving because he's in the final year of his contract. So I can see City maybe wanting to cash in. And I think James McAtee is going to seriously contemplate his future. I reckon in the summer he's going to decide to either stay and sign or leave the club. I don't think there's an option of him staying but not signing a new deal. That's not an option for me. So I imagine he'll wait for some offers, contemplate his offers over a summer holiday and make his decision past there about what he thinks is best for his development going forward. As Nico O'Reilly gets forward, he's brought down. That'll be a free kick on the edge of the penalty area for Man City and another good crossing position to get a ball into the box. I think he's had offers from RB Leipzig. I'm aware that Bayer Leverkusen are interested. There's a couple of other clubs in the Premier League as well that are interested in James McAtee, so he'll be looking to make his decision based on where he thinks he's going to get the most minutes to help with his development. As Manchester City are going to introduce Oscar Bobb. That's fantastic to see. He's making his Premier League return today. His first appearance in the Premier League this season. And it's going to be 5 minutes for Oscar Bobb to showcase what he can do. He's going to come in with what I presume is going to be a straight swap with Savinho. He's going to go to the right wing. And the good news is, with Oscar Bobb, capable of playing on the left, on the right, and going through the middle as well. So we'll see if Oscar Bobb can make something happen in his return for Manchester City and just helps Manchester City ease the burden of Erling Haaland's injury by having an extra attacking option that could just be a really good boost for Manchester City between now and the end of the season, as Marmoush just sends a cross into the box, which is easily dealt with by the goalkeeper. A bit of a waste of set play. Adrian, I'd like to see McAtee staying. It is great to see Oscar Bobb making his return. Brahim, thanks for tuning in. If I was to sell James McAtee, I think we'd probably be looking for a similar price to what we was looking for in the January transfer window. We're looking at £20 to £25 million with him having 12 months left on his contract. Might knock that down by a couple of £1,000,000. You might be looking at between 15 and 20. All depends on the sell-on fees, buyback clauses and things. I mean, if I were Man City and I was selling Maka, I'd be half tempted if a club was to come in with a £25 million offer and no buyback, but another club came in with a £15 million offer with a better sell-on fee and a buyback. I'd accept the less cash to keep that option there that McAtee can return back to the club if he ends up being successful. Always keeps that option open for me. And I think he'd flourish in the Bundesliga if he was to make a move there. I reckon you give him 2 or 3 seasons in the Bundesliga, he'd be a top high-quality young player. He needs the game time. The question is, can Man City offer him that game time? If he's prepared to be patient and give himself another 3-4 years at City, I could see him getting more and more minutes season upon season. Is he prepared to be patient? Because some of the Bundesliga teams will guarantee him minutes and starts right from the off. More so than what Man City will be willing to give him now. And he might want to go down that Jadon Sancho route that'll work better for him. De Bruyne did it himself, didn't he? He went to Wolfsburg for a season before joining City after being a Chelsea youngster because Chelsea couldn't give him what he were looking for at that immediate point in his career. I think we're getting towards that point with Maka at Manchester City, and I have a feeling, my instinct's telling me that with him not signing a new deal and he's not really getting them starts and minutes that he's looking for, that Maka might be on his way out, which I think would be a great shame. So 3 minutes remaining of this game. I can't imagine it'll be too long added on at the end. And I'm glad you mentioned, Peter, there, the homegrown rule, because we need to keep an eye on that. Kyle Walker leaving, English. Maka potentially leaving, homegrown to the club and English. Means Man City may need to have a good look at players that they're bringing in through the academy who's going to be around the first team for next season. So there might just be an option for 1 or 2 of the City youngsters to be promoted to the first team. And, go from there as Leicester's won the ball back here, and a good opportunity here for Leicester to grab that goal and take that clean sheet away from City. Ayu's played slightly wider than what he wanted, and City have managed to get bodies back. It's a really good bit of defending there. I think it's Oscar Bobb in there, as Nico O'Reilly does really well to win the header, and it looked dangerous, but good defending from City and keeping that clean sheet intact. I think it's just as important for City scoring goals to keep clean sheets as well, to showcase that they can keep clean sheets. As we're now 30 likes away from 100, guys. Any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe and do go and check out today's video sponsor, SofaScore. Links and details, they are in the description. But yeah, going back to that homegrown ruling, that wouldn't rule out Man City. As Grealish goes down, that'll be a free kick for City. About 30 yards out, slightly left to centre. A good shooting position, this actually. Because of that homegrown ruling, I can see City going after 1 or 2 homegrown players in the summer for a position or 2. We've been linked with Branthwaite, once out from Everton, to give him the best opportunity to go to the World Cup in 2026. I feel like this summer's probably the ideal time for Adam Wharton to leave Crystal Palace. Callum Doyle could be an option. I imagine all these young players that have been impressing out on loan will be given some kind of opportunity over the Club World Cup and through pre-season training to showcase what they can do. And City will make a decision on a lot of these young players in August rather than through June and July. I think if any decisions made on the players' futures through June and July would suggest to me that you're just not going to be an option for Manchester City in the foreseeable future. Adrian, our third choice keeper, does help with that. With Scott Carson getting no younger, there could be the chance for City to go out and bring in another old homegrown goalkeeper if he decides to retire and maybe become part of the City background staff. He's been at City now for donkey's years. Or if Man City might want to use one of their high-quality young keepers to be third choice for a season around the first team. Someone like Spike Brits, I think, would benefit a lot from being around the City first team and some potential learning from the likes of Ortega and Ederson and any keepers that are brought in if any of them first and second choice keepers end up leaving. So, we coast into the 90th minute. We're going to go into the first of 3 minutes added on, so just 3 minutes for Manchester City to see out and try and get that clean sheet. Can we add another goal as well? Marmoush, interested, stood over this, slightly left to centre, about 30 yards out. Marmoush straight into the wall. Rebound, shot comes in. No deflection, out for a goal kick. McAtee it was with the effort. So fantastic. We're going to see a couple of changes. We're going to see Rico Lewis coming on, and we're also going to be seeing Vitor Reis coming on. I think it's going to be his Premier League debut for Manchester City. So firstly, we're going to see Rico Lewis come on, and it's going to be Ilkay Gundogan that comes off. So a bit of a change there in midfield. Adrian, would I play the same starting 11 against Manchester United? I mean, it's hard to take Grealish out and say I'd go with De Bruyne, but I don't think I'd go with Grealish in midfield for that. Man United haven't got a high-energy midfield, as Vitor Reis is going to come on for Josko Gvardiol, so brilliant to see him make his Premier League debut. I think I'd go with De Bruyne. Might even go with Kovacic, Gundogan and Nico as a bit more negative if they're looking for more control. I think the team against United will look very similar to the one we went with against Bournemouth. I can see Nico O'Reilly starting that game, though. Ball sent forward by Manchester City to no avail. And Leicester will see that one out as we're entering into the final 60 seconds. So, guys, I wanted to thank you so much for tuning in today. It is much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. City win the ball back here through Jack Grealish. Here's Rico Lewis, who just turns his back to goal. Social media links, though, there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the live stream. We're 27 likes away from 100, so any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe as well. Do get your thoughts in the comments below. Get your full-time thoughts in the live stream whilst we're live for another minute. And yeah, I'll be back with another live stream for you guys to enjoy on Sunday, the big Manchester derby for everybody to look forward to, as Pep Guardiola has decided that this is enough and he's going to make his way down to the tunnel and into the dressing room. I can see Bernardo or De Bruyne coming in. There won't be that many changes. It'll be a pretty similar team to that went out against Bournemouth. FD, thanks for tuning in. Cross comes in from Leicester and nearly a goal there for them. Pereira putting the ball across and Ederson manages to collect that one. You are more than welcome. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Much appreciated. And I'll see you Sunday as the full-time whistle set to go here. Oh, Southampton's blown their lead against Crystal Palace 1-1 late on there. There we go. Full-time whistle does go. It's 3 points for Manchester City. And we will be back for the live stream against Manchester United on Sunday. Julie says to see you on the fan reactions. Enjoy. But I'll be back with my match reaction for this game in the next 60 minutes for you guys to enjoy. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in. Big shout out to everybody that's donated on the stream today. Everyone that's become a member. Everyone that's helped to support my stream and support my content means the world to me. Thank you to everybody for interacting with me today, leaving a thumbs up, getting your thoughts in the live chat. Means the world to me. One final thing other than to say Man City picked up back-to-back wins and back to winning ways in the Premier League. I just wanted to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by SofaScore. And a big thank you to SofaScore for sponsoring this live stream. Remember, SofaScore is going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest football scores, along with the latest match statistics, match information, team news, and so much more. Not just limited to football, it's got all the sports scores covered for all the sports that you guys love to follow, all in one place, all in one app. It's a free app to download, so anyone that does download using my link in the description, or the link in the live chat, or the QR code on screen does help to support the future content created here on my channel. I want to wish everybody a good night. I'll see you for my match review. I'll be back for another live stream on Sunday for the Manchester derbies. Manchester United take on Manchester City at Old Trafford. Big game, that one. Looking forward to it. We'll have all the build up to that. I'll be back tomorrow with a transfer update for you guys to enjoy, and then I'll have all my regular content out from Friday onwards over the weekend in the build up to the big Manchester derby. So I will see you guys for that. Last thing is, who's my JSGC man of the match? I'm torn. Savinho had a good game, and Jack Grealish. And I think Jack Grealish just edges it for me, just mainly because Jack Grealish is playing in a little more unfamiliar position at Manchester City. We're so used to seeing him on the left wing, so to ask him to come into midfield after doing so well against Forest in the Premier League back in December, he starts the next game against Juventus. His next game that he starts in midfield, and he ends up having a bit of a disaster class. It didn't work. We've not really seen him around the City first team since. Puts in a good performance at the weekend, coming off the bench against AFC Bournemouth. Gets given his opportunity here, goes back into central midfield. It's not easy, and comes back. And that goal on 2 minutes has really helped Manchester City, because this could have been a very frustrating game. As you've seen, Leicester City more than capable of going more than an hour of keeping Manchester City at bay. City can have the ball. If you're not going to create that much with it, then it becomes a game of fine opportunities. And when we've had opportunities to be put on target, it's made all the difference, and we've come out with a comfortable 2-0 win and a clean sheet. Not the best of performances, not the worst of performances. It's enough to pick up the 3 points. It's enough for us to move on and try and target back-to-back wins in the Premier League and see if we can really get our season rock and rolling as we head into the Manchester derby. Win that game, and all of a sudden City looking pretty good for the remainder of the season. Lose that, it becomes pretty toxic again, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster season. The roller coaster season does continue. Thankfully, though, it's gone Man City's way this evening, and we picked up a big 3 points, beating Leicester City by 2-0. Seamus, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Anyway, guys, I'll see you Sunday for the next stream. So I've been JSGC. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Peace. Ciao for now, and I will see you for my match reaction up in the next 60 minutes.